Alrighty, you guys, I just wanted to show you guys maybe a few more examples, give you some inspiration, some reminders of some things to do, not to do, and then you can let me know if you have any questions. But a couple examples I have here. So here's an example of just coils stacked up. So just a reminder that we do want to see exposed coils on the outside. So one side you'll be leaving the coils visible, and then the inside would be totally blended smooth. This one is still maybe a little bit on the bumpy side, but at least enough where your coil projects is not just going to fall apart and all the coils come apart. So make sure that at least one side is totally blended smooth. Generally, the outside would have the exposed coil. The other thing about the project, though, is we do want to think about creativity, our design, a theme. So something like this, where it's just basic stacked coils, it just goes straight up. There's no interesting shape or form or movement. I'm just telling you now, you're probably not going to get an A on the project because it's just not very creative. So yeah, you'll get credit, you'll pass it, you'll show me that you understand how to make coils, but there's no design, there's no interesting form, not a lot of creativity. This one obviously is still pretty cool because she spent a lot of time glazing this, but glazing is not part of our grade, unfortunately, this semester. So make sure that you spend some time thinking about a creative design. So a few examples to show you. So nothing too boring, but then also you want to think about nothing too random either. So here's an example that just has a bunch of examples, but it's a little too random, right? There's not really a theme. It's just kind of a hodgepodge. But just to show you guys some things that you can do. So we've got our spiral. We have little mini coils blended together to create a larger coil. Our shapes are slabs, right? So you can cut out slabs that are not just, they don't have to just be squares or rectangles. You can cut them out into any shape that you want. Fish, coil fish, feathers, leaves, strawberries, anything that you want. And then of course you can carve on them once they're leather hard. So lots and lots of ideas and how you can modify all of those different ideas that we saw in the video to create some really unique designs. You just want to make sure that you do have a theme. You think about repetition. So when you turn it and look at it from all sides, it has flow, visual balance, and an overall theme. Okay. Of course, you are welcome to add handles, make it into something functional. If you wanted to make a mug, a pitcher, so of course you're welcome to add handles. This one probably wouldn't be super functional because of this popping up, and then you would stab yourself in the nose while trying to drink out of it, but still looks cool. Okay. So again, thinking about the techniques, how to combine them, how to make it a little bit more interesting. I just wanted to show you another example. So this bowl here, it's the opposite. So it's blended on smooth on the outside, and then the exposed coil is on the inside. Just something to think about if you are deciding to do something like this. This would not be something functional that you would want to use for food. This would be more of a decorative bowl or to put wrapped hard candies or something in. But because of the creases inside, you would not want to be able to, or you would not want to put food in here that would fill in like spaghetti or salad or something like that. You wouldn't really be able to wash it and get all those little crevices clean. But so those are options. So either just one side is going to be blended smooth and then one side has exposed coil to show me that you did create the piece using coils and that your coils were made evenly, etc. So just another option. And then I did want to just show this one in person as well because I had a few questions about this, is making those thinner coils. So this was that Van Gogh piece that I showed you in the example. So you can make really thin coils. So if you wanted to do more intricate design, you can thin down your coils, but just note that they still have the width, right? So it's still the right width, but it's just thinned down. So making sure that your vase is still going to have the right width, and it's not going to fall apart. But you can make some really cool, intricate designs by thinning down, flattening your coils, and stacking them up. So lots of cool ideas. And then I did make a tutorial on lids. So if you want to learn how to make a functional lid, you can watch the tutorial on making lids, so that'll be functional and it won't fly off and break on the ground. But yeah, just thinking about being creative, thinking about visual balance, so repetition, an overall theme, and then making sure that you are going to think about the shape as well, so where you're placing the coils. So stacking them directly on top of each other, we'll get just a vertical cylinder, and then stacking them outwards, right, on the edge. Stacking them on the edge, we'll get a flare out. Stacking them on the inside corner, we'll get a flare in. And you just want to make sure that you're planning and placing your coils purposely. Another thing to think about, or just to remind you guys about, is when you're blending. So just a reminder that when you're blending the coils, just try to blend up and down. Try not to push the coils too much on the inside, because if you're pushing on the inside, you're either going to stretch your form, or if you're supporting your form and you're pushing, basically that's pinching the clay together, right? And we know that when we pinch the clay, it squeezes the clay and it stretches the clay out, and it's going to make your piece flare outwards. So just be cautious when you're blending. Support your hand on the outside to keep the form, and then just be careful, use your fingers to blend the clay up and down, and not necessarily pushing that you'll stretch the clay out too much. Okay? And then just the last thing to remind you guys about is that angle. So if you're going to do something that flares out or flares in, that maximum 45-degree angle, so nothing that's going to go too steep out, because I'm just going to tell you right now, unless you're like super lucky or just already amazing with your clay control, anything that flares too much of an angle out is most likely just going to keep sinking and collapse into a flat pancake. So just be gradual with your angles going out and in, nothing too sharp. And then making sure that you're covering that top corner. So when you build high, you want to make sure that the bottom has stiffened enough so that it's strong enough to support the weight of you adding more coils. So just be careful. Don't go over crazy with it and just get excited and just keep stacking. And then the whole thing is just going to be too much weight with plastic clay that it's going to make the whole thing collapse. So after you do maybe, 2, 3, 4 coils, make sure that the bottom coils are going to have enough time to stiffen up and strengthen before you add more coils. And then you can slowly work your way up. So keeping that wrap paper towel around the top inch or so that while you're waiting for the bottom to stiffen up, you're still keeping the top really moist, so that when and if you want to add more coil, you're still going to have super blendable clay at the top when you're ready to add on. Okay? All right, you guys. So otherwise, let me know if you have any questions about projects or how to do something. Otherwise, have fun and good luck.